There's a fly. No! Are you a fungus gnat? Hi plant friends, welcome back to my channel. So, if you can see behind me, there are no plants. I have moved. I moved. Yeah. Anyway, so in this video I'm going to talk about a few things that I wanted to address that I talk about in my video that's going to come out soon. I talk a lot about propagation, and I don't necessarily explain what that is, so I wanted to explain that to you guys. Hi, I'm back. Sorry, my memory card was full, so I had to change that. I don't really remember what I was talking about. I think I was talking about soil and explaining, what this video was going to be about. So, this video is going to be about, along with propagation, soil and the type of soil that you want to be using, especially when you are trying to grow vegetables for yourself. So, like growing vegetables in your backyard. I just wanted to talk about that and explain a couple little things that you might want to know. So let's get started. First, I wanted to talk to you guys what plant propagation really is. So the definition of plant propagation is the process of growing new plants from a variety of different sources. Those sources could be seeds, other parts of the plants, and etc. I just wanted to explain that to you guys because in the next video that is coming out, I talk a lot about propagation and like a propagation station, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys were kind of on the same page of like exactly understanding what I was talking about. The second thing that I really wanted to drive home was that you understand what type of soil you want to be using, especially if you are going to be growing in your backyard garden. The thing is that the soil that you have in your backyard might not be the best for growing your vegetables or things that you want to be consuming. A lot of the times, the soil that is actually in our backyards or around our house is contaminated with heavy metals and different types of pollution, especially if we live in urban areas. These heavy metals and pollution can come from a variety of different sources. It can come from air pollution, especially if you live in a more urbanized area. Another source is paint chipping off of your house. A lot of the times the paint that is on your house, if your house was built before a specific time, the paint is a lead-based paint, and so when that paint breaks down, lead gets leached into the soil system, and then you have lead in your soil. So you really want to be careful when you are growing vegetables and different consumable items in your garden, just because you can then introduce those into your body, and that's really something that you don't want to do. So what I recommend doing is actually obtaining gardening soil from the store and using a planter bed or a different vessel that you are going to be growing your vegetables in, just so that you can consume the safest product available to you. Now, we are going through a time of social distancing and trying to stay in the house as much as possible, but there are still a variety of ways that you can obtain gardening soil from the store. A lot of people already are making trips to big box stores, and a lot of the time these stores have garden centers. And so what I encourage you guys to do is that while you're already making a visit to one of these stores is look and see if that store has a garden center, and definitely go check that out. Now, you might also be saying that, well, I don't necessarily want to buy soil since I already have the free stuff in my backyard. A lot of the time you can get a 3 cubic foot bag of soil for pretty cheap. I would say under $10. You kind of just want to decide what you are going to be using this soil for. Now, when you go to these stores, there's probably going to be a wall of different types of soil that they have available to you. And at this point, it's really based off of personal preference and personal decision on what you are using this soil for. If you are using it as a grow medium for your vegetable garden that you are going to be starting, it's a good idea to go for either a garden soil or a potting soil. It will have a better mix of ingredients for what you're looking for. If you actually read the label on the bags, it'll tell you what they have included in the gardening soil. So just go ahead and kind of decide what you're looking for, do a little research. Also, a lot of the times these soils have an additive fertilizer in them already. Some of them do, some of them don't. It depends on the brand. So what you're going to want to do is really pay attention to the additives that they have in these gardening soils. I personally go for gardening soils that have little to no additives for fertilizer included in them, just because I personally fertilize to the plant. I don't necessarily fertilize generally. I will use general fertilizers, but it's always to the need of the plant. So if the plant is looking a little sad, I add more or less. It really just depends. It's all based off of individual and not a general, just because all plants don't necessarily need the same amount of nutrients. So you just really want to keep that in mind. I want to go into the different types of propagation. So I mentioned a couple. One of the main ones that I will be demonstrating for you guys in the next video is seed propagation. And this is basically just growing another plant from seed. And so what you're doing is putting the seed in a grow medium, applying water, and allowing it to grow. That's basically what seed propagation is. A lot of the time, if you think about like growing a plant, like a flower or whatever, what you learned in school is seed propagation. Now, on the other hand, another type of propagation is from cutting. And actually, a lot of your houseplants are grown from cuttings. They are the exact replica of the mother plant in which they were taken from. So what happens is that a producer or a grower will take cuttings off of what is called a mother plant, which is the original plant that they take the cuttings from. And what they will do is they will apply hormones that are naturally found within the plant system, just to help the plant root out and advantage the plant so that it doesn't just die off. There are different applications in which you want to be using propagation of seed and propagation of cutting. Propagation of cutting will give you an exact replica or a clone of the plant that you have taken it from. So that is a good way to have a uniformed group of plants. With seed propagation, it's a recombination of the two chromosomes from the parent plants, so the mother and the father. So you're going to get a different plant than the parent plants, and that's just due to the recombination. Some plants respond better to cutting propagation rather than seed propagation, even when the seed is true to type, meaning that the seed is the same as or a clone of the mother plant. Sometimes that can happen, and it's just something that happens within nature. It's very species dependent, so depending on the species of plant, sometimes that'll happen more often than not. Now, some plants do respond differently to seed propagation than cutting propagation, and a lot of the time it's due to pathogens. Seed propagation is more prone to different pathogens than cutting propagation, and so sometimes the producer or the grower will want to mitigate or work around those pathogens by using one over the other. So yeah, now that I have thoroughly confused you, if you have any more questions, please feel free to comment below. Tell me what you have questions about. If you have any questions about this video or anything that I have talked about, please feel free to ask. I will definitely get back to you and try and get an answer for you. Alright, that's it for this video, you guys. It has been a pleasure. Please, as always, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!